I'm Dr. Jeffrey Kile.
And I'm Dr. Alvaro Reymunde, and we are from Pediatric Associates of Kingston.
Let's talk about car seats and children. We get tons of questions always about car seats. When do we frontwards, backwards? When do we switch? When do we take them out of car seats? So let's sort of talk about from early on straight through, till they get out of the car seat. So let's talk first about our smallest newborns and infants in car seats.
Correct. Yeah, and it's a question we get all the time, and I think it's a really good topic. So I'm glad we're doing this video. So for the newborn period, straight out of the nursery, you will probably not be allowed to leave the nursery until you have a car seat with you, and they will inspect it, and they should really check to see that the baby fits properly in the car seat. Now, even before you go to the hospital, you should always have a local police department or fire department, or you can swing by our office and we can make sure that it's a proper car seat for your newborn baby, and we can make sure it's installed correctly in your car. So then once we actually have baby be born, we want to make sure that car seat is installed rear facing. And we're going to be rear facing till around 2 years of age, or until the baby outgrows the manufacturer's limits, which are usually on a sticker on the side of the car seat. There are, however, some different positions on how the straps go through the back of the car seat and how it should fit across the baby's shoulders. Would you like?
Right. So the car seats for a child that is rear facing, again, they should be rear facing in their car seat from birth to 2 years of age. The straps should come equal level with the shoulders or below the shoulders. The harness that goes across the breastbone should be at armpit level.
Correct, yeah. So that strap should really be curving around the shoulder and over it, and then you want to snap it in the front.
Mm-hmm.
Correct.
And they should be snugly into the car seat, so we can't have it too loose. But again, we have to watch and make sure it's not too tight. You should be able to fit a finger sort of underneath the belt straps. And the base also, when it's using the latch system on the car seat, you shouldn't have more than 1 inch of wiggle room with the car seat in general. So after you put it in, before you put the baby in, you should see and rock it back and forth and see how much wiggle room you had to make sure it's tight enough and secured into the seat.
Right, correct.
Also, I guess the other question I would have, a lot of parents ask, where should we be putting that infant car seat? They're rear facing. Do I put it on the side seat, in the middle? What's the best place?
That's a great question, and the rear-facing car seat should definitely be placed right in the middle of the back row.
Right, because again, unfortunately, if you're ever in a car accident and you're hit from the side, we don't know what side you're going to be hit from, whether it's the driver's side or the passenger side. Correct. So being right in the middle shields the baby the best from side impacts.
Correct.
And what about in the winter time? That's often, babies are very bundled up in the winter because it's cold outside, obviously, right. And putting them in the car seat, using those straps, they have a big cushion, between their skin
yep.
and their
harness.
They have a big cushion between their skeletal system and the harness. So what's important to think about when you're putting your baby in the car seat in the winter time?
So just like you said, coats and jackets, especially nice bulky ones in the dead of winter, will create a lot of airspace between your body and the harness. And if you're ever in an accident, that leaves a lot of wiggle room between that, and there could definitely be a lot of forward and backwards movement and a lot of whiplash action going on. So we need to make sure we take baby out of coats and out of jackets and just leave them in their layered clothing, and make sure, same thing, that only 1 or 2 fingers fit between the body of the baby and the strap.
As children get closer to age 2, we know that as they grow, they're going to start to get cramped in the back seat, and their legs might seem like they don't have enough room. Mm-hmm. But we can't underscore the importance of keeping them rear facing, because that is the time that we know their neck musculature is strong enough to support their head. So the whole reason why they're rear facing is if you're in a bad car accident, the baby's muscles aren't strong enough, if they're less than 2 years old, to support that head very mm-hmm. well. So it leads to a high level of cervical spine and neck injuries if they were forward facing before that time. So it's important to understand that the age 2 reasoning does not have to do with their height or their weight. Mm-hmm. It really has to do with the maturity of their neck muscles to hold their head.
Right.
So what do you say we move along a little bit and talk about the next stage? So now my child is over age 2. They're ready to go forward facing.
So once they start going forward facing, first of all, you have to make sure that the car seat is approved for forward facing as well. Many car seats are only rear facing and some car seats are only forward facing. So we've got to make sure that it's either one of those convertible ones or that it's at least safe for forward facing also. And same deals. Once we're forward facing and our kid is 2 years of age or older and we're meeting the requirements, the weight and height requirements, the way those straps go from the back of the car seat and across your shoulder now changes. So before we wanted that rounded belt across the shoulder. Now we want that at least at shoulder level or coming from a little bit higher. And we want it straight across. The chest strap should still be at armpit level. And we still want to have only 1 or 2 fingers of space between the body and the belt.
Right, and their heads should actually be an inch below the top of the seat back.
Correct.
So that's very important also. So that's what you want to look for. Now, once they start to get older and they start to not fit into that seat anymore and their head starts to creep at the level of the back of the car seat or above, that is a time that you may want to start thinking of switching your child over to a booster seat.
Booster seat, yeah.
So booster seats are very important for children because we know as children transition out of car seats into booster seats that booster seats still protect children from being in a fatal car accident by about 45% as compared to children who are in no booster seat.
Correct.
So that's why it's important that we keep children in booster seats. And forward-facing booster seats are really important for children to prevent injury. And we do know that children should stay in booster seats until they're 4 feet 9 inches tall. And this is a lot of confusion a lot of times for parents. Oh, well, my child is 8 years old. We should be able to just take them out of the booster seat because of their age.
Right.
And it has nothing really to do with their age or even their weight. It has to do with their height because it's all, the reason why they're in their booster seat is to really keep the lap belt and the shoulder belt in a certain position so they're very safe. So it has to do with their height. And the optimal height, again, to take them out of the booster seat is 4 feet 9 inches. And that generally occurs sometimes at age 8, but may not be even until age 12.
That's a very good point. Once we are in a booster seat, then we're relying on our car's actual seat belts to secure our children. So, and it's also very important that the booster seat has the attached back. Some of them you're able to remove that back support, but I believe the American Academy of Pediatrics and the CDC still recommend to have the back installed and properly placed for the safety of your child.
Yeah, because I think that offers more protection for children. The side bolsters protect their head if you're in a side car accident, whereas if you have just the bottom booster seat, the torso can move a lot more. And then also we know our kids love to take naps in the car, right? So it offers a secure place for them to sleep so they're not leaning over too much and again, not positioning them well within the straps of the seat
Another
belt.
benefit is that if you have the back attached to it, it usually has a tether for you to slip the seat belt through to make sure that that seat belt is going right across the shoulder, above the shoulder and across the chest properly. I've seen many kids when I'm driving around that they're in the back seat in a booster seat or without a booster seat and the seat belt is right around the neck, across the neck, and that's obviously dangerous if we have an accident.
Correct.
So we want to make sure that that seat belt is properly secure across the shoulder and then across the chest. And also the lap belt should be across the actual hips and not across their bellies.
Right, because if you're in a bad car accident and the body moves forward, if the lap belt is against the belly, you're actually pushing that strap into the abdomen, which we've all seen intra-abdominal intestinal injuries and splenic injuries due to lap belts that are not positioned properly when a child is in a high-velocity car accident.
Yeah, absolutely. So how old should we keep children in booster seats?
So again, it goes by their height. So we want to try to keep them in a booster seat, preferably a high back booster seat, until they're 4 feet 9 inches. And that can happen anywhere between ages 8 to 12. And then after that, once they reach that height, okay, we're ready to move into the regular seats in the car. And there's a little checklist you should look at, and it's kind of what you were talking about earlier. Before we decide to do that, we should put the child in the car with no booster seat and see if certain things hold true. Mm-hmm. Just like you said, we want to make sure that when you pull the seatbelt across and clip it in, that the shoulder strap sits mid-shoulder area or mid-clavicle area, mm-hmm. and that lower belt also sits on the hips, not into the abdomen. And it's also important that a child who's ready to transition to the regular car's seat out of a booster seat, mm-hmm. that they're able to do this with their back against the back of the car seat, and their knees should be able to bend over the front of the bottom of the seat also. So those are all important positioning things to make sure that they're ready to be able to do that.
Absolutely.
And the other important thing is that all children should still be sitting in the back of the car, in the back seat, until they are 13 years of age. That is what we recommend, because every child wants to sit in the front seat sooner than that, but we really recommend till age 13.
So to recap, we want to make sure that every child under the age of 2 years old is going to be rear facing in the car. In the middle of the seat would be the safest, especially for newborns. Once we outgrow the requirements for rear facing and the kid is over 2 years of age, we can move that seat to forward facing. We want to make sure that the straps are properly positioned. And then starting around 4 years of age, as long as they are meeting the height requirements, we can switch into a booster seat until that child is 4 feet 9 inches tall. The safest seat in the car is the rear seat, and every child under the age of 13 should be in the rear seat.
And any questions, you could always talk to your pediatrician, or else refer yourself to the local police department so they can help you out.